Coach Burke with Blockers Offensive Line Academy. Just going to go through a few things here. Sorry, as I get settled in. Just kind of talking some basic offensive line information for anybody beginning at the youth level, middle school level, kind of get some understanding. With my offensive lines, we always go through this at the beginning of every off season and kind of work our way through just in case we have any new linemen joining the team or anybody who's new to the game of football, and also just to strengthen their overall understanding of offensive line play and the game of football as a whole. So at first we look at our offensive gaps. Pretty simple. The gap between the center and the guard is the A gap. The gap between the guard and the tackle is the B gap. The gap between the tackle and the tight end is the C gap. And then outside the tight end to the sideline is the D gap. So a lot of times you'll hear different coaches talking and they'll say, the defensive tackle is going to shoot the A gap, or the linebacker is going to shoot the B gap. So that just gives an understanding so that everybody has the same terminology and understands exactly where that gap is that lineman is or defensive person is going to be shooting to. Just so everybody has an understanding and are on the same page. Now, regardless if it goes to the strong side, the weak side, the right, the left, the gaps remain the same. It's A, B, C, D, going from the inside out. The next part here I want to talk a little bit about is defensive techniques. This way, so when the offensive line coaches or offensive coaches and defensive coaches are talking with the linemen, they have a pretty consistent terminology that they're using for where people are aligning. So when the offensive line comes off to the sideline in between series, the offensive line coach may ask the guard what position was the defender in when we ran the inside zone. So when you look at this, when you're at the center position, head up is a 0. To the left of the center is a shade we call shade left. To the right of the center is a shade right. Then at the guard, you have a 1, which is inside the guard. You have a 2, which is head up on the guard. And you have a 3, which is to the outside of the guard. Then you go to the tackle. For the inside of the tackle, you have a 4I. Head up on the tackle is a 4. Outside of the tackle is a 5. Then you go to your tight end. The inside of the tight end is a 7. Head up on the tight end is a 6. And outside of the tight end is a 9. So once again, a lot of times when my offensive line would come to the sideline after a series, we'd kind of go back to a play that maybe things weren't going real good, and I could question them, okay, center, did you have anybody on you, yes or no? If they say yes, what did you have? They'll tell me. Guard, what did you have on that play? Did you have a 1, a 2, or a 3? Just so we have a full understanding where everybody was aligned to be able to make some of those corrections with the offensive line that may have caused that play not to be successful. So it's a pretty simple terminology once you get used to using it. But the one nice thing is it's universal. It's the technology. It's the terminology that many coaches use throughout the country at all levels, whether it's pee-wee, middle school, high school, college, professional. So you just want to make sure you have an understanding of those techniques and the sooner that terminology. So then when you understand that terminology, you're able to communicate a little better with your coaches and have a full understanding of exactly what is taking place and what is happening out on the field and where the people are aligning. Also based off of those technique areas where the defensive lineman lines up will kind of determine different moves that they can make depending on if it's a pass play, if it's a run play, things in that nature. So understanding that terminology to be able to communicate that to your coach, communicate that with the other linemen is very important. Like I said, it is kind of a very basic system. At first it seems kind of complex, but once you get used to using that system, that's what most coaches use, and it becomes very easy to understand and be able to communicate on the same level, whether you're coming to college camps, combines, day-to-day with your own teams, that everybody's on that same page. Once again, if you like our presentation, please go down and hit that like button. Also, always looking for subscribers. Please subscribe as we have more informational, basic information and more complex information, no videos coming out here shortly. So please go ahead and subscribe to our channel. We greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much. Blockers Offensive Line.